ESPN has reported that the Chicago Cubs hand the LA Dodgers their worst home game shutout in franchise history. The Dodgers started up back in 1883. That's 142 years of Dodger baseball. 53,887 people at Dodger Stadium, as well as the millions watching at home and around the world, got to witness the Chicago Cubs completely destroy the Dodgers at home. With that being said, welcome back to another episode of the Cubby Perspective. My name is Andrew, and I'm a podcast for the fans and by the fans. With that being said, what an absolute game by the Cubs yesterday, beating the Dodgers 16-0 at home, like I said in the beginning of the video. Ben Brown was simply lights out. The offense, 14 runs in 3 innings in the latter half of the game. I don't care if it was against Miguel Rojas. Cubs still put up 16 runs against the Dodgers, which is incredible. It was nice to get our freaking get back on them. The Dodgers have played us really well in recent memory. So the fact that the Cubs could, potentially now win this series against them, improve their record further, is just simply incredible. Anytime you could beat Texas, San Diego, and Dodgers in back-to-back-to-back series, that's just going to pay dividends on the entire season. That's going to gain confidence throughout your fan base. That's going to create more of a buzz, more people at Wrigley. Obviously, even though Wrigley doesn't have any issue selling out, but that's going to give the team more confidence to go out there and do their job to the best of their capabilities. Like I said, anytime you could freaking beat San Diego with their star-studded lineup, Texas Rangers with their star-studded lineup, and the Dodgers with their star-studded lineup and pitching staffs all across the board in a 3-game series back to back to back, that's incredible. Wrigley's buzzing right now, Chicago's buzzing, and the Cubs are looking like the real deal to start the 2025 season. And not to mention, that's also going to go ahead and put the entire league on notice. Now, moving forward, I guarantee, teams are going to look at the Cubs in a different lighting. This team is ready to compete. This team is ready to make a deep run in that postseason. And now teams are going to understand that, and their game plan will have to change against the Cubs. The Cubs' offense to start this season has been insane. They're putting up an astronomical amount of runs per game. So, I mean, yeah, pitchers look out. But I do want to show some love to Ben Brown. Ben Brown against San Diego pitched 4 innings, 11.25 ERA, 2.75 WHIP. Really, really rough way to start your season. But then followed that up against the Dodgers with a beautiful game. 6 innings pitched, 1 win, 5 Ks, 0 ERA, .83 WHIP, and a quality start. So that's all you could really ask for out of a young pitcher such as Ben Brown, especially against a good team like the Dodgers. That's just going to, again, I'm going to throw that term out there again. That's going to give him the confidence moving forward to, hey, maybe I can be a part of this league. Maybe I can be a vital part of this Cubs rotation down the line and down the stretch when games are truly going to mean something. Right. So shout out to Ben Brown for a great game against the Dodgers. It's to no shock that the Chicago Cubs offense truly is rolling to start the 2025 season. And I just want to go ahead and shout out 2 players for the Cubs who paid dividends in this offense, the way it is being set up at the moment. And those 2 players are Carson Kelly and Miguel Amaya, our 2 catchers. Miguel Amaya this season is 10 for 36, 5 runs, 1 homer, 11 RBIs, 0 walks, 278 batting average, which is pretty damn good, with a 289 on base. Obviously, that 289 on base could be better. Miguel Amaya has yet to draw a walk this entire year, but nonetheless, Miguel Amaya is still swinging the bat really well. Then you have Carson Kelly. Carson Kelly, who we got from Detroit, I believe. He did have a shaky start last year, right? But this year, completely bounced back. 2025 season, 10 for 24, 8 runs, 4 homers, 13 RBIs, 10 walks, 417 batting average with a 571 on base percentage. That's astronomical. That is absolutely insane. Carson Kelly last night, 3 for 3, 3 runs, 2 homers, 3 RBIs, 2 walks. Miguel Amaya last night, 2 for 3, 3 runs, 1 homer, 3 RBIs, 667 batting average, right? Anytime out of the ninth hole and your catchers are producing at the rate that they're producing right now, that's just going to lead to a lot more wins. It's actually insane what, these two are doing. And I kind of have a theory that they're feeding off of each other's energy. You know, Carson Kelly is pushing Miguel Amaya to do better and vice versa, right? So I think you have like a nice friendly competition going where both players are playing well because the other player is playing well. Who knows? Interesting turn of events in Chicago recent. Mark Feinstead of MLB.com has reported that PCA has turned down a $75 million contract extension with the Chicago Cubs. The amount of years is unknown and disclosed, so we won't be finding that out. But it's just really kind of baffling somewhat to me. Obviously PCA has the utmost amount of talent. He could easily be a five-tool player, in his career. Obviously, he has the defense, he has the speed, the base running capabilities, and he has showed some pop last year. But this year, he has not shown any of that. At the moment, he is batting below the Mendoza line. He's not hitting the ball well, nor is he looking good at the plate at all. So I kind of just I, so it really comes down to it's like if you have the opportunity to have $75 million guaranteed, and when the time that contract expires, you're still going to be in your prime and can still hit free agency. I kind of see it as like, why would you not want to take that? But at the end of the day, it's PCA's decision. I respect him for betting on himself. Because obviously he knows what he's capable of, and he wants to prove that every day. So who knows? Maybe PCA will. Maybe this will kind of spark something in PCA to where he wants to prove to the Cubs that he's worth more money. So look out for PCA. Look out for what he does after this. But yeah, moving on to the game for today, the Cubs do play the Dodgers at 6:10 p.m. Central Time, so don't miss the game. The Cubs are going for the series win over the Dodgers. The Cubs have Colin Ray going today. Colin Ray is making his season debut out of the starting pitching rotation, so look for Colin Ray to continue that winning, continue to pitch good as the Cubs have been as of recent, and just overall like keeping that confidence up and having a lot of fun. On the opposing mound, the Dodgers are throwing out Tyler Glasnow. Tyler Glasnow is a very lethal pitcher. He is a top of the rotation type of player. Tyler Glasnow has been injured in recent memory. He has been injured a lot, but when Tyler Glasnow is on the mound, Tyler Glasnow pitches very well. So look for Tyler Glasnow to bounce back, especially after the game that he had against Philadelphia. He did not pitch well against Philadelphia. 2 innings, gave up numerous amount of runs, had like an 8 ERA in the game. So look for Tyler Glasnow to bounce back against the Cubs, but look for the Cubs bat to remain hot against Tyler Glasnow. I think this is going to be a very good game. I think this will end up being another high scoring game for the Cubs, as like every game the Cubs have played this year has been already. I believe the Cubs will win this game. I believe the Cubs are going to continue on that winning nature, beating up on good teams, playing good baseball when we have to, and just keeping that going throughout the entire duration of this month because we're going to need it. The Cubs are after the Dodgers series, like I talked about in previous videos, our schedule does not get easier. It kind of remains the same, if not gets harder. We have San Diego again. We have the Dodgers again. We have Arizona. We have Milwaukee. We have Philadelphia. So these are the games the Cubs have to win because the Cubs have an easier schedule later in May, right? And they could beat up on bad teams. But if the Cubs want to be serious competitors this season, they are going to have to beat good teams in series. And we already proved we can against San Diego as well as Texas. So look for the Cubs to continue this pace on. Seiya Suzuki is not in the Cubs starting lineup for today. If you guys didn't know this, but Seiya Suzuki went down and had to leave the game due to a wrist injury in last night's ball game. So hopefully Seiya Suzuki is fine. Seiya is such a pivotal part of this Cubs offense. So the Cubs desperately need him back. Hopefully this isn't a serious thing. Hopefully this is just, he needs a few rest days. Maybe his wrist is just sore. But if this is anything major, the Cubs will have to, figure something out because losing out on a bat like Seiya Suzuki for the remainder of the season or whatnot, or even a few months, is going to be devastating. Seiya Suzuki does bat right behind Kyle Tucker, and everyone knows how important that is. So hopefully Seiya is fine for everyone's sake, including himself. All right, my two picks to click on the game are going to be Michael Busch. I think Michael Busch has been playing well. I think he is gaining some confidence that he needed. Michael Busch is also going up against the team that drafted him. Michael Busch did not work out with the Dodgers, obviously, because they had Freddie Freeman. So the Dodgers did end up trading Michael Bush to the Cubs for Jackson Ferris back in 23 or so. So I would imagine Michael Bush wants to get some of that sweet revenge on the Dodgers and continue that revenge, such as he did last night. So look for Michael Bush to continue playing well. And my second pick to click, okay, I will change it up now. I won't pick Kyle Tucker every single game. I'll try and make it more interesting. But you easily could pick Kyle Tucker, right? Um, but I think you will see a big game from Nico Horner here. Nico Horner has been, hitting the ball well this year. So look for Nico Horner to get a few like key base knocks throughout this game, and definitely some stolen bases. Nico Horner has been gassing it up on those base paths this year. So look for him to continue that as well. So my two picks are going to be Michael Bush and Nico Horner as my players of the game. So I was about to wrap up this video, but breaking news just hit my tablet right before I was about to, start finishing this video, that Justin Steele is undergoing elbow surgery, season ending elbow surgery. It's unsure whether or not the Cubs are going to go with Tommy John or they're going to attempt to go with the brace procedure, which is typically around that 12-month mark instead of that 18-month mark, which definitely would affect the 2026 season if Justin Steele gets the Tommy John. But with the brace procedure, you could see Justin Steele back a lot quicker than with Tommy John. But really, really devastating news for the Cubs. Just almost like takes the wind out of your sails. Just truly heartbreaking. Justin Steele, so important to this team. The fact that he won't be pitching again this year, really hurts. So the Cubs are going to have to, fill that spot in the rotation. I don't feel comfortable with Colin Ray being, taking over for Justin Steele. That's just not plausible. So, the Cubs have a rich farm system. They have a lot of young talent. Why not go out there and make a trade? Obviously, I've dropped Sandy Alcantara before, but the Cubs need to do something important, with this news, and they have to capitalize because the Cubs offense is looking legitimate right now. The Cubs are playing big ball against some really good teams, right? So if that pitching could just stay healthy, you could see the Cubs ultimately make a good run this year. So again, devastating news for Justin Steele and the Chicago Cubs. That will definitely hurt. But look for the Cubs to replace Justin Steele with a formidable pitcher at some point. If that's Cade Horton, Cade Horton is a solid pitcher, but he's unexperienced. He doesn't have any major league, talent, or doesn't have any major league experience. So more so, hopefully they could fill that gap with a nice veteran pitcher that's controllable and still somewhat young. But with that being said, always keep the faith, go Cubs, and I am the Cubby Perspective.